Here we're looking at a knockdown chair from the Brick. This chair costs $200 from the Brick, and we're comparing that to a chair that's shipped fully put together.
This is more the traditional way of building a chair. The stock on it is much bigger, it's much heavier. This has all the workmanship and craftsmanship that's built into this chair. It's just the way the chairs are. And this is the way that goes back for years and years, hundreds of years. Whereas the other chairs, the ones that have come assembled, is basically a mechanical set. It's a put together mechanical set. It's hard to compare the two. They're just totally different animals. This one, the legs are much bigger, the sides are much bigger. And why are they bigger? Because instead of using bolts and everything, we got tenons and dowels on all of the joints coming in here. There's no bolts, there's no hardware. If you were to look at the bottom of this, you got huge corner blocks running across. No bolts, no bolts. So the workmanship in this, the craftsmanship, is much greater. Whereas these, you can spew them out, hundreds and hundreds of them. They're basically one-ofs. Each one is made to, and has to be, every little joint, they have to be done to joint perfectly. It's not the type of thing where you could have, a couple hundred legs on the shelf and pull them off and stick one on here. If you pull a leg from another chair and try to put it on this one, wouldn't fit. They're all just slightly different. That's where the craftsmanship comes in on these. These type of chairs, were off, and I see them, for hundreds of years. A couple hundred years, you'll still see this chair around. Whereas these type of things are basically, they're a throwaway chair. They're not worth fixing or anything.
Why do they do knockdown chairs?
It's primarily because of transport. You can get a lot more in a container than if they're fully assembled. The problems that we see from them, you end up with this, basically your back, your two front legs, and your seat. And all of these bolts and everything are connected into insert nuts in the back, which are basically little guys like this, which are down inside the hole there. And then your screw comes through the leg or through the back and into there and holds it. Some of the problems that we see is with the insert nuts, if you over tighten these, it's quite easy to pull it out of the wood. You can tighten these down and everything's fine when you assemble it. But then because the wood all moves, especially in Canada with our dry winters and our humid summer, they'll loosen up, say around December, January, and you have to go around and give each one about a quarter turn to tighten the chair back up, or it'll all be wobbly. And of course, the problem then is that come the summertime, then it's going to expand, and there's no way you're going to go in there and loosen them off. I'll remember to go in and loosen them by a quarter turn. So each year it's pulling these a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and finally they'll give way. And they're quite difficult to repair that. The other thing is when they're putting these together, you can have right in the back here, there's a total of 6 bolts. And people will go in and tighten those up, and they'll say, oh, the chair's wobbly, it rocks on the floor. Well, if you loosen these back off again, you'll find that you can move the whole assembly back and forth, and you can finally get it to level to your chair, to your floor, and then tighten those back up again. But it's not a permanent thing. It's going to change with temperature and humidity.